Right now, every file you upload to Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive can be read by those companies and potentially by hackers or by governments who demand access. Sounds bad, right? And honestly, after years of testing privacy tools at Cloudwards, that's the part most people don't think about. But here's the good news. There is a completely free way to scramble everything on your computer before it ever touches the cloud. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know how to make your files so secure, not even the cloud companies themselves can look at them. And stick around for the part about the recovery key, because if you mess that step up, your files are gone forever. I know. That sounds like an exaggeration, and most cloud services say they encrypt your files once you upload them, and you'd think that should be good enough, right? The problem is companies like Dropbox hold the decryption keys. They can read your files whenever they want. The government asks, they have to hand them over. I mean, hackers breach the walls, they might walk away with the keys too. Now, before we dive into Cryptomator, let's talk about a second path some of you might honestly prefer. Instead of bolting a tool on top of your cloud, you can switch a provider that already encrypts files end-to-end before they leave your device. And let me quickly go over some of my favorites. Now, Proton Drive is Switzerland-based, end-to-end by default. In our most recent testing, it averaged around 7 minutes for both upload and downloads for our standard 5 GB test folder. Pretty solid. Now, there's Internext, same idea, but it's from Spain, but it pairs its encryption with Kyber, a new encryption standard built to resist quantum computers. It's pretty rare in the space, pretty new, so quite interesting to check out. pCloud only gets you true client-side encryption through its paid crypto folder add-on, but if you ask me, it's well worth the extra cost. And finally, there is Sync.com, a fully end-to-end encrypted service as well, but I'll be honest. Our testing showed the slowest downloads of the bunch, around 12 to 15 minutes. Yikes. There's a lot more I could say about these services, and I have, so you can check out my most recent cloud storage ranking up here, or check out the reviews linked in the description box below if you're interested in that. I've also got links down there with the best deals available for each service. I keep these updated, so no matter when you're watching this, you can get the best price possible. But here's the thing. If you're already paying for Google Drive or Dropbox or OneDrive and you don't want to switch, that's where this guide comes in handy. So let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about the tool we're actually going to use. It's called Cryptomator. Cryptomator is free and open source. It creates encrypted vaults on your computer. And during my testing, I've run it on Windows, on Mac, and on my iPhone, and the experience was basically identical across all three. It runs on Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android. So whether you're on Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, or even iCloud, you're basically covered. Now, I'll also be upfront. The UI is a little dated, kind of utilitarian. But if you get past that, it's the best free option I found personally. And here's how it works. When you drop a file into a vault, Cryptomator scrambles it with AES 256-bit encryption. It's the same encryption as banks use before it syncs to the cloud. And what does your cloud provider now see? The good thing is, complete gibberish. Useless, essentially, without your master password. All right, let me show you actually how to set this up, right? Head to cryptomator.org. and grab the version for your system. And I'm on Windows here, but every platform installs it essentially the same way. Now run the installer, so click Next until you hit the end, then launch the app. Now let me walk you through how to create your first vault. You open Cryptomator, and you'll see this big plus button right here. Now, simply just click it and create new vault, and give your vault a name, right? Now, pay attention, because this next step matters. You need to choose where Cryptomator stores the encrypted files. Here, I'm picking my Dropbox folder because that's the one I use the most during testing, because I know a lot of people have Dropbox, maybe even they're still in the free 2 GB plan or something. But iCloud Drive, OneDrive, or your Google Drive folder, they all work in the same way. Now, you tap Next, and next comes your password. And honestly, pay attention to this part, because if you forget this password, your files are gone forever. Like forever, forever. Not even the Cryptomator developers can get them back. Well, you've been warned here before, so keep it in a safe vault somewhere, or obviously in a favorite password manager, but do not forget the password. Now, let's get to the final step. Cryptomator generates a recovery key, like you can see here. Now, this is your backup if you forget your password. Now, the way Cryptomator handles this isn't like perfect. There's no built-in cloud backup of the key. You have to save it yourself. And honestly, it's a little bit of unforgiving usability, right? But that's a trade-off for like the actual zero-knowledge encryption, meaning the developers literally, they cannot read your files even if they wanted to. So I would probably save it in your password manager. And if you want to be extra safe, you can print a copy and then you store it offline, ideally somewhere in a safe vault in your house or in your office or wherever you are. Okay, so we've got a brand new vault, right? But like, how do we actually use it? It's not difficult in my opinion. You just click on the vault and you type in my password and you hit unlock and voila, this folder that just opened, that is your vault. Now, here's the part that honestly confuses most beginners the first time they see it. When you unlock a vault, Cryptomator mounts a virtual drive on your machine. Think of it like a USB stick that suddenly appears, right? And then it disappears the moment you lock the vault. So let me show you. I go to Explorer, and then you'll see it right here underneath my hard drive. Now, I'll just drag files in like into any normal folder, and that's pretty much it. You can't see it here, but Cryptomator just encrypted those files in real time. Now, if I head over to my Dropbox folder, I can see this subfolder named after my vault, right? If we take a quick look inside, boom, all we see are these files I can only open with completely gibberish names. Now that I've encrypted my files, I'll go essentially back to Cryptomator and lock the vault. I just click here, right? And the virtual drive disappears. Now, here's a quick aside. To be honest, there's been a lot of big shakeups in the encryption software space in the last few years. Providers are like constantly changing their prices, what features they give away for free, and sometimes shut down entirely, like Boxcryptor just did, right? So if you want to make sure you stay up on with the latest news in the tech space, you got to subscribe to our Cloudwards newsletter, and you can use the link in the description box below. Okay, but what about your files on the go? Good news, Cryptomator works on both iOS and Android, but honestly, this is what I'm not crazy about with Cryptomator. It's not 100% free like it is on desktop, and the inconsistency between platforms is a bit weird, right? On iOS, the app is free to download, but it's read-only out of the box. That means you can access files that are encrypted on our devices, but you can't use it to encrypt stuff on your iPhone. That requires a one-time in-app purchase, which costs around $30. On Android, there is no free tier at all, just the same one-time fee. For a tool that's free on desktop, that feels like a limitation, right? But to be fair, it's a one-time fee. It's not a subscription, which is nice. So I won't complain too much about it because the developers still probably need some money to get the development going. So fair enough. Now, a couple of pro tips before we close out. First, create vaults by category. Maybe you create one for work, one for personal, and one for family photos. It keeps everything cleanly organized, compartmentalized. Second, take your password and recovery key very seriously. Use a strong passphrase. You store it in a password manager, and you put a printed recovery key somewhere safe. Don't just leave it in your downloads folder. Please do not do that. And that's it. Congratulations, you've just taken control of your cloud privacy. So do you think it's worth the extra effort? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. I'm always really curious to see if anyone is as paranoid as me when it comes to this stuff. And if this tutorial helped, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next privacy walkthrough. Hit the like button too while you're down there. And I know you're probably sick of hearing YouTubers talk about it, but it really does make a big difference, and also does a big difference to my motivation to continue making these videos. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.